All right, greetings everybody, and welcome to Tri-State Triumph's special treat for us this week from his new adopted home in Colorado. The man was a walking double-double in high school and at John Wood, and the reason we're having Will Carr on more than anything is in recent memory, I can't think of a young man or a young woman in our area who has better kind of gamed system of college, used natural abilities to seek out and his excellence in sports to seek out the exact educational experience he wanted. Although the architecture of the road that Will has taken, a little different than maybe he started out. Well, first of all, I can remember sitting down with you when you were getting ready to sign with Alabama Huntsville right out of John Wood, and you talked about maybe wanting to work NASA. You've taken a right turn into this wonderful career as an entrepreneur, founding your own, nutrition and supplement companies, and it's really taken off for you. That is kind of left turn. Kind of how did you get there, Will?
Yeah, really it became with, me just wanting the high quality nutritional products myself. I definitely, when I was, like you said, an athlete, high school, college. And so myself and my peer group have always used, products like what, I make today. And, I know that a lot of the ingredients and stuff that went into the products I was using when I was younger were just garbage. And so I wanted to make products that just had, really good, natural, healthy ingredients. I thought I wanted to be an engineer. I was fascinated by NASA and space as a kid. So I thought, I want to be an engineer for NASA. And, but really I'd say there was two big things that made me take a right turn, as you said. And it's one, I just have zero ability to work for anyone. So, so I've either quit or been fired from every job I've ever had. And if I quit, it was probably because I was about to get fired. And so, I've always needed to work for myself, super independent and visionary. And I just like to create and build things. And so that was probably the one reason I just can't work for anyone. Oh man, I can't remember where I was going. There's two things I was going to say.
But that's the thing, Will, about most wonderful, successful entrepreneurs is they think and they work and they act differently. Even when you kind of approach your education and even the way you approach basketball, you've always been a guy who's kind of a different analytical thinker, aren't you?
Yeah, for sure. I would say that I've always been a really deep thinker, and I've always, and this was actually part two that I was going to say. Is the reason I got into engineering is because really I love problem solving. And so when I got into engineering, it's like, it's problem solving. I'm learning these different skills in order to solve problems, which was great when I transferred and started doing industrial and systems engineering, because really what that is a business engineering degree. You're looking for efficiency, bottlenecks, like work design and workflow were some of my favorite things that I did in college. And just really trying to create the whole system to be able to work smoothly and efficiently. And I feel like that's what I do in business, trying to build my brands and build my different businesses, is how can I put the different pieces in place so that the system itself works as efficiently as possible. It's like every day, it seems, I have problems that come up. Some days I have bigger problems than others, but that's what's fun for me. Like, that's the adrenaline of it, it's the same thing in like sports. When you're playing basketball and you're competing, you have that game day that you get to work for. And the cool thing about business is, although I wouldn't say every day is like game day, you get a lot of days that are like game day when you just have, like with what recently happened with my Amazon brand and losing all that inventory. It was just like a punch in the face. But at the end of the day, that's what I live for. Like, that's what excites me, is that I am even in a position where I get to solve problems like that. Most people in their lives aren't even in a position, you don't get put in a position where that's even a possibility. And like, for me, it was like, okay, cool. This is what I live for. Like, now I'm under pressure. Cool. This is where I shine. This is where I thrive. This is what I love. So
the problem solving piece, and you touched on it, and anybody who's ever dabbled in supplements and nutritional aids knows that some products just aren't great. I mean, they aren't, and some products are darn near scam. The fact that you, with Genesee Nutrition and Sunrise Supplements, have had such traction with your customers must speak very well of the product you're putting out there. I know that's important to you, that it is your name and it is your brand that's on the line to do that. To have succeeded in an industry is not easy to do that, Will. What does that say about sort of what you've done and the products that you're putting out there?
I think that it's just, regardless of any industry that you go into, it's like, whatever you want to go into, there's going to be challenges, and there's pros and cons to every industry, and I could go into like what makes the CPG space hard versus, what would make an oil and gas company or, whatever, fill in the blank, or construction, I don't know, anything. Every industry has its own sets of challenges. And that's what I think about being entrepreneurial. And that's why entrepreneurship and athletics are so intertwined. It's that discipline and the confidence to be able to, no matter what, you're constantly picking yourself back up. You got practice the next day. You got another game in a few days. You're always trying to get better. When I got into the supplement space, it was, as you know, we use hemp CBD in all of our ingredients and in all of our products. It's an ingredient in our products. And so, I got into that because I had my own experience with CBD that alleviated the pain in my toe. And, I wanted to create products that, rather than the tinctures and the gummies and the capsules and the stuff like everyone else was using, I wanted stuff that I would use as an athlete, that my peers would use. And even now, I might not be playing basketball as much. I still try to pick up in the driveway every once in a while. But, I live in the mountains here in Colorado, and, we hike all the time. And, there's 5 kids in my house. And, we hike all the time. We got all these kids running around. We just literally set up a zip line in the yard. And it's like there's all kinds of just like fun adventure constantly around, swimming in lakes, whatever. And, I just wanted products that fit that lifestyle and provided that really high quality level of nutrition, because like you were saying, so much of the products out there are just bunk. They're not good ingredients. And so, I wanted to leverage CBD because it works for anti-inflammation and it's great for people to take every day. But then using that as an ingredient in these functional food dietary supplement products that have protein, essential fatty acids, and other good quality nutritional sources that we need. So it's so much more than just CBD. It's the dietary supplements in general. But, like when it comes to the challenges, that's what I live for. And I love this. It's like I was talking to someone the other day, if you can do anything that we choose to do in our life. We have complete autonomy over the way we spend our hours of the day, the career paths that we go after. We can spend our time chasing whatever dream you want to chase. But regardless of what you chase, there's going to be hiccups. There's going to be pitfalls. There's going to be things that are hard and that make you have to look in the mirror and be like, why am I even doing this? Like, do I want to do this? And the thing that I always come back to is I love it. I love what I'm doing. And if you don't love what you're doing, those pitfalls and challenges are going to be so much harder. Like that's when it is going to rock you to the core, and people do quit or whatever. It's because they don't love it. Like even my experience playing basketball, I only played basketball 1 year overseas, and super grateful for that experience. I had a great time. But if I had loved basketball more, I would still probably be doing it like my other friends that are playing overseas. But I didn't have the passion for it at that point. My passion had, seen its day. And so I was ready to move on and do something else. And so, but always challenges. And I think that's where it really comes down to. You just have to choose doing what you love and what you enjoy, because then the challenges just become part of your story. It just becomes part of, that's the adversity that he went through to get to where he is, or, if I'm someday like Richard Branson flying on my own Virgin Mobile jets, like, it's going to be super easy to be like, that's luck or whatever, but it's not. It's nothing other than just saying that, I'm just going to consistently pursue this, and I love what I do. So it's not me putting a time frame on it or whatever. It's just doing what I'm doing in order to get to where I want to go, but really the journey is the destination. It's every day's fun. It's not like I'm going to have any more fun having something else than what I have now. Life is awesome.
I don't want to get too sciencey with you, but I do want to ask you this because I'm fascinated by this. You're a guy who's always been, like I said, incredibly analytical and sharp, and you have seen the pivot in American culture where CBD has gone from off the map or something that was, not understood, to the fact that its derivatives have become such incredibly important science to people and changed people's lives for the better. Do you and you're almost like a startup firm, because these successful CBD and nutritional companies that are incorporating this technology are really finding resonance with people, not just in terms of financial success, but changing people's lives for the better. Are you kind of blown away by how far this industry has kind of warped in terms of the American consciousness, Will?
Oh, dude, great question. Obviously because of COVID, I haven't been to a trade show in 6 months.
Yeah.
Or ish, whatever it would be. But, for the 2 years prior, I was at like every dietary supplement, hemp, CBD trade show that existed, and met so many cool people, constantly out, just meeting people and learning and expanding my network. But the difference between the industry just over the last 2.5 years compared to now, it's insane. And so much of it has to do with cannabis all gets thrown into one batch, and for so long, it's wild that during the First World War, hemp was grown. Like, you were required to grow hemp, industrial hemp, in order to make ropes and clothing and all these different textiles. And so, people don't realize even how much, like, George Washington grew hemp on his farm. Hemp is such a foundational piece of the founding of America. But when the war on drugs started, industrial hemp got thrown into the same bundle as marijuana, and it was just completely ostracized, and everyone was told how bad this is. You had these ridiculous movies like Reefer Madness, and it was all propaganda. And so what's been super cool over the last few years is to see this real shift in consumer consciousness, like you're saying, from thinking, oh, marijuana, cannabis, that's terrible, to, wow, there's actually benefits here. There's good things here. There's over 150 different cannabinoids in the hemp plant, and they're just beginning to discover what they all do and how they can all help people. And it's about 10% of medical schools that even teach that we have an endocannabinoid system in our body, that, we have our endocannabinoid system in our body. Our body naturally produces cannabinoids. And we have these CB1 and CB2 receptors that when we externally take cannabinoids such as CBD, they can attach and they can do a variety of things. And it's also kind of what's confusing about CBD, because people be like, well, how can it help from everything from Crohn's disease to anti-inflammation to, making me have a better mood, whatever. And the answer to that, though, is the endocannabinoid system being so directly correlated to your nervous system that it touches on almost every aspect of your body. So when your cannabinoids are out of balance and your endocannabinoid system isn't in homeostasis, then, and you have these things that are out of whack, it's a variety of things that can be shown in the body. But that's kind of some of the more the deep stuff of we're talking, they were talking about some more like actual diseases. But, it's like the other main thing that I like to get across to people about CBD is, often it gets talked about with things like what we're just saying, these chronic diseases. But you don't have to have a chronic disease in order to have an endocannabinoid system. The healthiest of healthy people have an endocannabinoid system. And I like to talk about it's making healthier people healthy. Me as a 29-year-old young man, father, entrepreneur, adventure junkie, I'm healthy and I work out and I get exercise. And so I'm not taking CBD because I have something, wrong with me, and I really don't even want to use that phrase, but, because I have some sort of condition, that's not why I take it. I take it because it's like a multivitamin. I know that me taking it every day is going to be good for me. And that's why putting it in products like a super healthy, delicious protein bar, like that we have at Genesee. You have this really awesome protein bar, really great nutrition. We add CBD because it makes the bar that much better. It's not that the focus even of the bar is CBD. It's definitely what differentiates us and makes us different. And it's where the hype is. And then with like Sunrise Supplements, we have an all plant-based protein powder on Amazon. It's the only protein powder on Amazon with hemp extract. But it's got super high quality plant protein, good fats, and the the hemp extract. You can't say CBD on Amazon. The hemp extract, just is what differentiates us, but it's that much more nutrition to help people. And so, it's fun doing what I'm doing and seeing the way that this has changed. This industry has changed. I know that there's a franchise chain in Quincy called Your CBD or something. I know they're closing. They have like 500 and some locations across the country, and they're closing. And, the main reason that I would say that is because through this sort of what I'll call the fad stage of CBD, in the next couple of years, we're going to see like a big implementation of just CBD. It's going to be normal. You're going to see it's going to be in all kinds of supplements and stuff. It's not going to be the fad anymore. We're going to have gotten over that and started to head into the more mainstream. But during this fad, the CBD products are just about CBD. And that works when there's buzz and everyone's confused of what it even does. But long-term, CBD is not a standalone ingredient. And it's not meant to be that way. Like, I definitely feel like there's people out there that should take CBD as a standalone because they need it for more specific chronic reasons. But for your average everyday person, you don't need a lot. You just need some in your diet because it's going to help you feel better overall, and it's going to supplement your endocannabinoid system and what your body's naturally producing. And so I think where it's really going to shift is to CBD being used as an ingredient in functional foods, supplement products that you're using every day. Like, I have a protein bar and a protein powder, but any sorts of supplements, it's going to be in combination with other good, high quality nutrition rather than just a thing by itself. So that's why I've created the types of brands that I am. But it's fun watching this industry change and grow because really cool people too. I mean, just the nature of the hemp industry is more of that, I don't want to say outlaw, but, the more adventurous, risk-taking, less bureaucratic, type approach to business. And as a young entrepreneur, I love it. I mean, it's cool people, it's a great space, and seeing the way this has evolved and being, a trailblazer in this space. I didn't even mean to do that. Trailblazer John Wood.
It was good. I thought that was actually well played, sir.
But yeah, it's fun, man. I love my life. Like, being in this space is great. I'm able to work from home, and like I said, we've got 3 adults living in my house. There's 5 kids between us 3 adults, and it is a zoo here all the time. It's epic, and it is so fun. So,
Will, I see this now for you, and it kind of is in sharp contrast with sort of your basketball career. You were a guy that played for some Taskmasters, and Reno Pigs and Brad Hoyt. I think in some ways, wasn't it good for you figuring out who you were, not just beyond basketball, sort of beyond the parameters of regular regimented life?
Yeah, I think the journey of understanding who you are and really getting to know yourself and value yourself for who you are rather than looking for outside validation or, needing any sort of parameters. It's like rather than looking at the outside world to try to make my inner world feel good, like understanding of just like learning who you are, trusting in yourself, trusting your own path, no excuses for that, no obligation to anything. I definitely feel like these last several years, even since basketball, I've had a lot of things go on in my life, but I think everyone has their own stuff that goes on. And the reason that we have things that, quote unquote negative, I think everything in the world that happens for us. So I don't really think anything actually is negative. But those things that seem like they hurt us, or they that gets us down or makes us depressed, all those things, the reason that those are happening to us is because there's something in our conscious where we don't quite understand something yet, and we're being forced into a situation that's going to show us a deeper perspective of who we are and a deeper appreciation of who I am as an individual, and to be able to have more trust in yourself, because I feel like so much of it's that, like, people just don't trust themselves to be able to make decisions where 99% of the population would say, what the hell are you doing? But if that's what I'm feeling called to do, it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. And so, I definitely identified with myself as a basketball player for a long time. And that's what I had as like, what was my sense of value. I was like, I'm a smart kid and I'm big and I play basketball, and that's what makes me cool. And that's what makes people like me, and it's like, but really getting to that point of understanding of like, no, I love myself because I wake up every morning loving the decisions that I make. I love the life that I've created around me. And, it has nothing to do with anything that I even do. I don't, it's like, I'll get on a show like this and be like, yeah, I'm a entrepreneur, father, and adventurer. But, I really, and I use those words because I think they describe like how I am and how I live my life. But I don't identify with that either. I'm Will Carr, and I'm this person who loves people and loves everyone deeply, and I care about everyone. And, I just want to do my part in making the world a better place. And, if everyone in life could be as happy as me, the world would be awesome. There'd be no more wars, and the world would be a good place. I'm just happy. And so just really, really happy. And, I think that's what it comes down to, knowing who you are and not needing to seek any sort of validation from anything else, because you know who you are and you know what you stand for and you know what makes you happy. And so that's what I chase every day, because that's what matters to me. I know that I'm doing what I need to do and trying to set that example for kids and just everyone around me. And, I'm happy, man. My life is awesome.
It's such a tough default, though, for people, Will. And some of this, I think for you, because you've made the existential leap just basically in yourself, might have been the fact that you did have success in basketball. You played pro ball. You lived a dream. Yeah, you were born 6'10", but you maximized that window and proved you could do it. And I think you're kind of doing the same thing here by proving you can swim upstream and use your head as a battering ram to make a place for yourself in a competitive industry. I think that was important to this whole journey, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. One of the best things you can ever do for yourself, especially if you're like wondering, can I do this? Or is this something I'm going to be able to accomplish? Is to remember your old accomplishments. Life is so cyclical, and it's consistently changing, and we're consistently put in new situations to do new things. And so like when we're in those new situations, I feel like there's this, kind of universal thought that basically once I'm 18, I've learned everything I'm going to learn, and, I'm going to get my job or whatever, and I'm going to be doing this. Now that I'm 18, nothing's going to change. And, it's like, I'm 29, I'm doing this right now, but I fully expect that 2-3 years from now, these businesses are up and thriving and doing well, and I'm creating other things, because the creation of it is what I really love and enjoy, the visionary behind it. But yeah, we're all born with different skill sets and different assets. Like you said, I was born to be 6'10", and there was nothing that I could do about that. It was a gift to me, and I maximized it. And something like 6'10", it's very visible. Like people can obviously see that. They're like, oh my God, you're 6'10". you know? But like, if I'm a computer coding genius, that's not something that's going to be shown on the outside, right? That's all up in here. And so regardless of what your skill sets are and what you're good at and what your natural talents and abilities are, we all have natural talents and abilities. Every single person on this planet has knowledge that most people don't. Every single person on this planet is smart in some aspect that most people aren't. Like, we all have knowledge and gifts and talents to share. And so I really think it's like, there also used to be this like thought, you know, I remember being taught this, that like, you need to be good at everything, right? Like, we need, if I'm bad at this, then that means I need to go and spend, 20 hours a week becoming better at this. No, I completely disagree with that. Being well-rounded is good in some regards for sure. But if I'm good at something and I love it, and I'm bad at this thing over here and I don't enjoy doing that, saying I have to practice this to make what I'm bad at something I'm good at and spend all this time doing something I don't enjoy is just so stupid in my book. If you are good at something, double down on it. Like, okay, these are my talents. These are my skills. These are my assets. So I know this is where my strengths are. So I'm just going to become stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger in that, to where I can be one of the strongest people in the world at that, because that's my gift. That's my gift. If I was to say, why would you say this is my gift? I'm going to go do this. You know, that's stupid. This is what I'm good at. Go do that. Be better at it. Be the best at it. Love it. Because then you're going to love your life. And then that just overflows into everything. You know, abundance is completely intertwined with everything in our life. And if we can put ourselves in that mindset of, I love what I'm doing, I'm abundant in everything, everything falls in place. So
to me, Will, it also sounds like, based on knowing you then and knowing you now and talking to you here, that father piece has been really important in your evolution as well.
Dude, I don't even know how to even say that in almost a PG way, you know, because to really get into my story, like, you know, when Blakely was born, and I've had my daughter pretty much full time. She's 4.5 now, and I've had her basically full time the entire time. And, you know, like, I was 25 when she was born, and I was living on like the 25th floor of a high rise in downtown Denver, just like living it up. I had my medical sales jobs. I had plenty of money to go blow at the bars, and, you know, and it was like, I was very not grounded. And, you know, having Blakely really grounded me and brought me back to this place of like, okay, who am I? What's important to me? How do I actually want to spend my life? Why am I even going out and spending my time in this way with these people? You know, and it was because I was trying to self-validate through that, you know, just like how we were talking earlier, like I used to validate through basketball, whatever. But then at that point, I'm validating with, oh, I'm this successful medical sales guy with enough money to live on this penthouse that, you know, I can party all the time. And you know, like, that's how I was validating. And so to have Blakely come into my life and really just shift that and make me realize, wow, that's an illusion too. I'm just seeking something because I don't feel whole inside. But yeah, man, I love being a dad. Like, I love being a dad so much. It's the most fun thing I get to do. And now, you know, my partner, she has 2 kids. You know, Blakely's 4. Courtney's 2 kids are 9 and 5. And, you know, one of our best friends lives with us, and she has 2 kids also. They're 6 and 3. So,
oh man, it sounds like fun.
Oh, dude, we got 5 kids between the ages of 3 to 9 in the house. And yeah, like I said, we just set up a zip line, you know, we've got a trampoline. These kids have a blast. And it's cool that they have each other, because even like before, I really love and appreciate the time that I've had where it's just been me and my daughter. But then even then, I've had like my cousins live with me some, or my best friends live with me for a while. And, you know, it's like I have roommates and stuff, but when it's really just been like me and Blake, there was no other kids. Like, it was great for us, and I love all that quality time. But for her to have other friends, and even for me as an adult, you know, especially now during COVID, it's like, that human touch and human interaction is so important for adults to be able to stay out of dark places and to keep that positivity. And, if we're having a rough day, having a friend that can be like, yo, this is how great your life is. You have an amazing thing going for you, pull your head up, you're good. And then for the kids to constantly be able to play and interact and learn from each other. It's like, it's just such an awesome setup here, man. And it's why I do it all. Like I love my home life. I love where I live here in Colorado. Cause like I said, I constantly go hike. I mean, I live in the mountains, and Evergreen is like this little hidden gem. We're like 40 minutes from Denver. It's not touristy. But we've got our own little downtown center, and coming from a small town, Evergreen is like 10,000 population. So it's like, I've been up here a little over 3 years now, and getting to know everyone in the community. And me, I'm bubbly and outgoing, and which matches my height, and so I try to meet everyone, and I just love it here. We ski all the time. I'm an avid skydiver. I've been over 80 times. And so, yeah, there's just, there's so much to do here. It just fits my lifestyle. And, my whole life pretty synergistically, like there's definitely things that I'm working to improve on and get better at, and improve my situation. But, I can't imagine, if life only gets better, which is what I believe, my future looks awesome, because my today looks pretty sweet.
Ordinarily, Will, I wrap up with asking people for life advice to give kids, and you've given us so much good stuff. I don't even think I need to go there, but I do want to ask you this, sort of, organic of our story that we're doing with you here today. What's that next evolution? Is your mind constantly clicking and thinking, hey, I've got 16 other things now that I've succeeded at this that I want to do that aren't even on the map yet. It's not even a blueprint, but all of a sudden my interest level is here, and here.
Yeah, totally. I'm 100% like, I'm the creative. I have a million ideas and things that run through my mind that I would like to do. And so 2 things that I'll touch on. One, there's this famous Warren Buffett quote, and not going to say this verbatim. I'm going to completely chop it up. But essentially what he says is, he's like, I really started finding success when I learned to say no to 99 out of the 100 things that would come my way. And I think that really resonates with me, because I do have a bunch of different business ideas. Like, I bought this domain, Bigfoot Apparel, and it's one of my dreams to make like a big man's hemp clothing line. It's like, so I have all these different things that I want to do for sure, but it's like, you have to focus on certain things, especially until like, once I have the revenue to hire more people and build out more of a team, and more of an operational team that can handle a lot of the day-to-day operations, I'll be able to put some more of these things in place. But, focus is essential. And the squirrel chasing a nut analogy is so true, because if you just constantly chase everything you think about, you're never going to end up getting anywhere. You have to have focus. And I like to think it's not even so much saying no. It's just like saying, I'm not going to do that right now because I'm doing these other things. And then the second part to that I would say is, it's about finding balance in your life and the priorities in your life, because I've often thought like, especially like if I didn't have kids, I would be that person that worked 100 hours a week and just grind at what I do. And not because it would be like, oh, I'm working all the time. It'd be like, because I had to have nothing else that would fill up my day. And that's where my mind would go. And I would constantly be doing these things. But it's like, I remember this movie I watched as a kid, and it just came to me, maybe not like a kid, probably when I was like 17 or 18 or something. But it was called The Family Man with Nicolas Cage. And it's about this guy that, like, he starts off in the movie, and he's got this small little auto mechanic shop. And, he's barely able to make his rent and his money, but he comes home, and he's got this family, but he's like, at the beginning, he's like sad because he's thinking about how he had all these aspirations to be like this super wealthy, like Mark Zuckerberg type, and I relate to that so much. And, but the premise of the movie is then all of a sudden he wakes up one morning and he is that super wealthy, has the New York penthouse, but at the end of the day, he's not as happy. And so, that's where I really come down to. It's like, I have so many creative pursuits and so many things that I want to do. But at the end of the day, like, my daughter's only going to be 4 for another 6 months. And these kids that are running around the house, and 10 years from now, they're not going to be here. They're going to be doing their own thing. Like, it is what it is. I have this time now, and I'm so lucky to be able to be a father and to be that mentor figure and to have this family. And that is more important to me, or at least as important to me as anything. And so, it's like, I'm going to be about 40, maybe a few years over 40 when my daughter graduates high school, if high school is even a thing anymore.
That's right.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, we're looking at doing all homeschool for all the kids this year. And I don't know if that'll be just this year when things settle down, but like, we'll see. But like, I'm going to have plenty of time if I want to, work on 12 different creative ventures at a time. I'm going to be 40 some years old and these kids are out of the house, and I can do whatever then. But like right now it's also good to find balance, because I also couldn't be the 100% I'm dad all the time. Like, I need to do this sort of stuff. This fills me up. Like, this will give me energy the rest of the day. And I love my creative pursuits and the building of the businesses and the operations of it. And how can I make this better? Like, what little marketing twist can we do on this? How can we turn this situation and leverage it for the best possible thing we can? Like, I love that. And it lets my creative mind, my problem solving engineer mind, like, really go. And so it's just a lot about balance. If you're a young kid and you're looking and you have if you're like 16 years old and you're thinking about starting a business or doing something, go at it, and don't even care about the result. I would say my first real brand that I ever developed was called Thigh Cloud. And I was able to actually do it as my senior design project. I did an independent senior design project in college, but it was because I'd already been here in Colorado. My daughter's mom was pregnant at the time, and I told Huntsville, I'm like, I'm not moving back to Huntsville, but all I have left to finish is my senior design. So I talked with the professor, and they let me do an independent study, because I had this idea. Because I just started skydiving, and I would get bruises like this on the inside of my thigh. And ultimately, it was because I'm huge, and the rental gear didn't fit me. Once I had gear that fit me, I didn't have the problem anymore. But I felt like it was a problem that probably everyone had. So I went out and I developed this pad, this cushion. And so that's where I thought I was really smart. Thigh Cloud, it goes on your thigh. Clouds are soft. You're falling through the sky. I thought I was brilliant. Super cheesy. But, I invented this thing. But I had to go out and like source all the different materials. I had to find a sewing manufacturer that could make the product. I had to build social media pages. I had to build a website. I had to do all these things that went into going into building a brand. And then I got the product up on Amazon, and, it's like, oh, here's the day. Everyone's going to start buying these things, right? Well, like 3 weeks go by, no one had bought anything, and we sold one. And I was stoked. I was like, yeah, it's like $50 item too. And I sold one. And I was like, yes, like, we're about to finally start rolling. Like, things are going. 2 weeks later, that one item got returned. And that was the only product I ever sold of it on Amazon. It got returned.
Hey, so you failed. And that's the important thing, because everybody does.
Yeah, and it was fun. Like, and also what I understand is if I hadn't done that and had that quote unquote failure, I would not be doing what I'm doing today. That was my introduction to how to build a brand and build a business, and market it. And so that's nothing that I would have learned in engineering school had my engineering teachers not allowed me to do an independent study. And so at the time I was like, oh, I failed in that, but absolutely not. And that's why, if I was, even younger kid than myself, it's just like, try, start it, see what happens. Because, and I would even say, and there's going to be parents out here that listen to this and don't like what I'm about to say, but I think college
almost at this point, unless you have something really specific that you're wanting to do that you need a degree for, you know, can be really not worth it. I mean, you're going into debt.
It's certainly not for everybody, Will.
Yeah.
It certainly isn't.
Yeah. And if I was a young kid and I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I knew I wanted to build businesses and I was creative and I had all these ideas, you know what you could do with just a $5,000 a year budget to work on stuff rather than spend 30 grand a year to go to a university? Like, you know, and the lessons that you'll learn from that, you'll be so much farther ahead. You might feel like you're behind, but that's because we're all judging but that's only if you're judging yourself based on your peer group. You know, it's like, oh, I feel like I'm behind here, but it's no, you're not behind. I'm following my own path. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm learning the lessons that I need to learn. And really that's putting me miles ahead of everyone because I'm learning these skill sets that most people aren't. You know, I think being an oddball and doing things completely different is the greatest thing you can ever have in your life. Because I don't know, I just wouldn't want to be normal.
Fantastic job, man. You absolutely killed it. I appreciate you taking the time. I am going to, like I said, I will get a hold of you when this is going to run. Hopefully tomorrow. We'll see, but it'll probably be before the weekend's up. And thank you for doing this. Stay safe, my friend, and enjoy. Keep on keeping on.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I appreciate it, man. Seriously, like when you reached out to me to do this interview, I was so pumped because I remember, 18 years ago being in middle school and watching you with your camera at like the high school games and stuff. And just being like, oh, I can't wait until like I want to be in high school so Chris Stewart will interview me and put me on Channel 7. Like, and, you were always just this really awesome guy, super personable. You were always really nice to everyone.
You are very kind, my friend.
Yeah, and I appreciate you, man.
This has been an absolute blast, buddy. I don't know that I've enjoyed one of these any more than this. So